Hello and welcome to TableTalk Friday, your weekly dose of D&D banter between three lads in a bedroom. If you like their style, make sure to follow them on whichever podcast service you prefer and come back every Friday for another upload. Now, back to the boys.
Why does the Mastermind Ranger have a dumpy?
Mastermind Rogue?
Yeah, of course, the Mastermind Ranger Rogue.
That's the
every good
mastermind
leader has a
behind the
dumpy.
Yeah, that's true.
Where you gonna put all those brains?
I think Agent 99 had a dumpy.
Oh, Agent 99 had a dumpy. An actual trash compactor for an ass.
I didn't envision having a dumpy. Definitely didn't get that vibe the whole time. No.
What, you think he had no ass energy?
That's kind of the vibe I was going with. Yeah.
Dude, that's all I want to talk about is Agent 99 and how funny he was to play. Like, oh, I love that character.
Yeah.
I want to play Glitch again, man.
I know, we'll just have to revitalize it by ourselves. Zach's not even there. It's just you and me, and I'm like, yeah, 99's gonna do this, and you, yeah, Glitch does the same.
And then still have to catch the chameleon. We gotta get him.
The Casanova. You've been calling him the chameleon every single time for a year.
He's not
it's the Casanova.
Boys, you're both right. It was the chameleon Casanova.
Oh, we just picked up on different words.
Yeah, idiot. You didn't even know.
Oh, I'm a big stupid.
I'm way smarter than you.
I had so many good ideas there, but...
Was it just the setting you didn't like as much?
Yeah, the setting, because in between sessions, I'd always be like, all right, well, let me learn. There's so much stuff about Sharn in the Eberron book, where I'd go into a session and I'd be like, all right, here are, 15 new things that I know about Sharn.
Yeah.
Then I'd go into the next session and I'm like, all right, well, they're going to be going into this area, and I really want to, sell the environment. So I have to spend all this time reading up on Sharn lore. I could have made it up on the spot as well, but I really liked, the flavor that they had in that book.
I felt kind of similarly when we started Descent into Avernus, because there's so much info on Baldur's Gate I didn't know, and I was like, I'm just not going to learn it.
Yeah.
I'm going to write up the places I'm putting in Baldur's Gate, and I know the general vibe of Baldur's Gate and what it looks like. And I'm just going to go with it and take them to these key locations so they can go to hell for the next 40 sessions.
Yeah, honestly, maybe we'll have an episode about this eventually. But cities? Yucky. I don't like running games in cities.
I like Waterdeep.
Yeah, but Waterdeep's a nice locale to go to and come back to.
Yeah.
If we're going to do a full campaign in Waterdeep, then we need to know more than 3 things about it.
I say don't spend more than... I wouldn't like to spend more than 10 sessions in the same city.
Yeah.
I definitely don't want to spend the entire campaign in Waterdeep. Waterdeep's great and all, but...
I mean, Waterdeep Dragon Heist is great, but it's also only a 1 to 5.
Yeah.
It's not like you're spending a 40 or 50 sessions there. You're spending maybe 10 to 12 at the most. I'd say if I ran it exactly as the book said, it might take 9 sessions.
Well, the setting, I think, is one of the main reasons I don't want to go in Dungeon of the Mad Mage, too. Because it's great and wonderful, but I don't want to spend 20 levels in a hole. It's just not where I want to be.
Even if the hole looks like it's another world. Yeah. It's still, you also know you're confined, still.
It's like a giant dungeon.
I'm not going to lie, though. I love the idea of a mega dungeon. I think a talented DM could make that work. Because just the concept of, all right, this is a massive, sprawling, labyrinth that you have to go through. There's danger around every corner. No one's seen everything that's in this place. Probably not even Hallister. So,
Zach, where are we going to find a talented DM?
I don't know.
But just inherently, dungeons have that sort of pace in D&D where no one really wants to roleplay unless there's something very specific that comes up. We go through, we explore, we fight things, we level up.
I feel like you can't roleplay as much in a dungeon because a lot of times you're looking for traps, you're looking for monsters. You got to kind of metagame a little bit. Like, oh, that's a dark hallway, let's poke it before we go down it.
Right, but the only things that you have to interact with are your fellow players. You have to bounce off of each other because the DM is mostly going to be throwing, traps, pitfalls, and monsters to fight. And only occasionally will monsters open up with anything other than, I'm gonna kill you!
Yeah.
Okay, well. Nice talk.
I think traps are really fun because as a DM, when you hit your players with a trap, yes, I fooled them! I did it! And when you're a player and you get hit by a trap, you feel like an idiot. Awful. It's like, I didn't need to take this damage.
No, I never feel like an idiot. I actually hold a deep grudge against Seth for every trap I've ever fallen
Oh
into.
yeah, I've put so many traps in my dungeons, it's insane, you know?
No, it's always the shit from the books.
The thing is, all traps are the same to me. I know there's creative ones. There are very creative traps, and they're very cool. But all the ones in the books are like, oh, you step on a tripwire. Or like, oh, here's a pressure plate in the ground that fires arrows at you. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm going to skip that.
I agree.
That's not there anymore. What I prefer to trap sometimes are like arrow slits in certain
Yeah.
places that alert enemies unless you sneak around them. You know? Speaking of sneaking, welcome to this week's episode of Table Talk Friday, which is all the way centered around rogues.
Clerics.
My name is Seth Pittman. I'm here with Zachary Carvon and Andrew Romano, and we're gonna go take a deep dive into rogues today. We thought these little like class breakdowns would be fun, and I'm super down to get into it because one of my favorite characters I've ever played out of the 4 I've ever played was a rogue, and he was awesome. How you guys doing?
I played a rogue for, what was it, 2 years we did Storm
Yeah,
Kings for?
it was 2 whole years.
I loved every bit of it. After the 2 years, I was dying to spellcast anything, even just like a firebolt. But it was really cool. I felt the entire time, you know, you had different things to do. You had a special role. You were able to, you know, do a whole fireball of damage with one arrow.
Yeah, exactly.
All good stuff.
And I have never played a rogue, except once in a one-shot, kind of. Well, and then we had 2 sessions of Dragon Heist?
Yeah, I mean, we had like 2 sessions of Dragon Heist before, schedules got busy in college.
Yeah. But I do love rogues. I just love other classes more.
Yeah.
We can get into that, though. So the rogue, it's a dashing, daring, thieving, conniving, sort of rough and tumble, badass character that, you know, I think more than a lot of the other classes, the rogue has a very, you know, standard personality type where you think, this is a rogue, I know who this person's going to be. It's going to be chaotic. It's going to be, you know, I'm the hero. I think I'm the hero. Rogues are one of those classes right up there with paladins where they want to be the main character. And it's especially fun when you have a rogue and a paladin in the same party because one of them's, I want to be the hero and I'm a good guy. And one of them's, I want to be the hero, and I'm an anti-hero.
Yeah.
So they'll always butt heads unless you sort of subvert those immediate expectations.
Yeah, and I think we do fall into a lot of tropes as rogues. You know, especially first-time players will fall into the trope of like, ooh, I'm the edgelord. I'm Shadow the Hedgehog in this campaign. All right, I'm against the paladin who is Sonic the Hedgehog.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna butt heads all the time. I'm gonna disagree with everything everybody with everything that everybody says. I'm gonna go against the grain all the time. And your rogue doesn't have to be like that, but I feel like a lot of people do fall into that trope with the rogue. You don't have to be an asshole.
And I'll defend that trope because my rogue that I created was very nice and charismatic, and he loved people, and he had both of his parents alive. And what happened session 2? Seth killed my dad. Oh, you're not edgy? Well, here's some edge.
Well, right. I mean, yeah, I think that Eknon, who was Drew's rogue that he played for 2 years, started out very much as like he was not your typical rogue, and I think even at the end of the campaign was not your typical rogue. I think that he was a good character in the way that he was nice to everybody. He had his own reasons for being a rogue, and that's because he was on the run, you know? He didn't want the life of a rogue. He just happened to pick up on it while he was out. And, you know, with his locksmithing background that he had, he just happened to be good at picking locks and stealing from things. Like, it came with the territory, right? You know?
Absolutely. His theming was so fun. I had so much fun with it for a long period of time. He was basically like the sleuthy, inquisitive, which that was his subclass, the Inquisitor, but he was kind of like a detective. He was very insightful. He was always reading people, and that just came from his very charismatic background, where he was kind of a merchant, actually went with a noble background. But he was always talking to people. He was always wheeling and dealing, running his Greylock Co. company.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah. And I mean, even to this day, in our setting, what is he doing? Running Greylock Co.
Absolutely.
So, likewise, I played a rogue that I would say was against the grain as well. because he was very whimsical in nature. He wasn't really an asshole on purpose.
Yeah,
he as a character could be, but it's because he was immature in his mannerisms.
Yes.
So, he would do things that typically would come off in that manner, but he never meant it that way, right? But obviously the NPC he was talking to would take it that way. It would make no sense for them not to. But Agent 99 was a mastermind rogue, meaning that he's good at barking orders and also getting a good shot in at the same time. Masterminds can use the help action as a bonus action and from a distance. So it was always fun playing him alongside his companion, Glitch. Just the big, beefy cleric boy.
I gotta say, Mastermind Rogue is probably one of the more useful ones, I would have to say that.
Yeah.
I think just for the sake of, first of all, we call it Mastermind because that's cool. Second of all, the bonus action help. How cool. You can help anybody.
You literally
anytime.
have a reason to be the leader of the party.
Yeah.
Like, you are Star-Lord.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, is Star-Lord a rogue?
That's something we could discuss. I would say absolutely.
I would say absolutely as well.
I guess so. I can't think of what else he would be, right?
Yeah.
Well, so that's another feature of the rogue that's it's not necessarily baked in with a lot of these classes, but the swashbuckler subclass definitely makes use of your charisma. I feel like most rogues have to be a little bit charismatic. Like, their main thing is their dexterity, but if you're a rogue and you're just not good in any social situations, then you're gonna be kind of,
You can be the quiet, brooding, like, not wanting to talk to anybody, like antisocial rogue. You can be that.
Right.
And you, especially if you're an assassin rogue or something. Mm-hmm. Assassin rogue is like the typical, everybody wants to go it because you have the potential to do massive damage, subclass. You get a critical hit if you get a surprise attack on someone and hit them correct.
Yeah.
And it has to be before their turn started if you're in combat, right?
Right, so that's sort of how surprise works. And this is one rule that I think a lot of tables get wrong. They don't read into it in the player's handbook, so the assassin rogue has the potential just to be totally wasted. Because the way that surprise works is essentially if your stealth check exceeds the target's perception, not necessarily every target in combat, but just a particular target fails to see you and you attack them before they pick up on you, then they are surprised.
Which is something that if you're a rogue and you do decide to go assassin, you need to make sure that your party is the ones initiating combat.
Yeah.
That's something that I think doesn't happen a lot. Like in Avernus, the enemy is usually initiating combat. You guys just happen to react faster because you notice it's happening, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we don't even think about that. Someone picks assassin rogue and the rest of the party is like, well, we still don't want to get in combat. But for the assassin to be useful to your party, you should definitely have your party being super sneaky and then initiating the combat themselves. We see this room is full of people, we're going to get in there. Or you see one guy trailing off about to head into a room, you want your assassin to jump in, sneak attack, and get him back out of the way and then try to do it again. Take out some enemies before combat starts.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the rogue is one of those classes where you could have a whole party of rogues and it would work much better than just throwing the rogue into any party.
Especially with some multi-classes.
Well, so I'm imagining you've got a mastermind rogue who's sort of the face or the brains of the operation. You've got a swashbuckler rogue who's the one that throws down when things get rough. You've got the scout who will lead them through the wilderness into the dungeon. The thief who will, do that dungeon delving and problem solving, trap disarming, all that.
Arcane trickster for some magic.
Mm-hmm. And then you've got the assassin who will be the
initiator.
Blood. Yeah, the initiator. And you always send them in. They've also got their secondary thing is sort of disguise and going in under like the guise of someone else as well.
Yeah, and something good about the assassin is you can have them be the guy at the back. Mm-hmm. They fire the first shot, and the rest of your hard-hitting rogues charge in.
Yeah.
Another thing that I was thinking is rogues are amazing multi-classes.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Something like a shadow monk. You're a shadow monk with rogue combined. So you got cunning action in there, and you can teleport to different spaces in the dark as a shadow monk. So they're great multi-classes for monks. Great multi-classes if you're a blade singer wizard, which is what I did. I would say it's the most
Optimal.
It's not the most optimal, but when I was playing Bladesinger Wizard at one point, I did multi-class into Rogue because it made sense for what the party needed. So it's a good thing for even if you haven't chosen to do that yet. A character could pick up Rogue and it makes sense to their character way later on in the campaign. You know, it's a great multi-class.
Yeah, and I'll say Rogue is definitely a very powerful class right out of the gate. Like their features that they get in first, second, third level. That's really pretty much all you need as a rogue. Past that, you get enhancements to your... So at first level, they get their expertise, which boosts or doubles their proficiency bonus in a particular... I think it's 2 skills, or skills and their thieves tools, which they use to, unlock locks and disarm traps and that sort of thing.
Expertise on any class is amazing.
Yeah, so so as they level up, they get... enhancements to this. They get other cool features as well, but especially just the cunning action, which lets you bonus action, dash, hide, or disengage.
Perfect. Amazing.
Yeah, and then added in Tasha's as well. Their steady aim, which I believe they get at 3rd level, but it goes along with that as well. If you stand still, you just get to get advantage on your attack for that turn, so that's awesome. And then, the subclass features, which... The rogue subclasses are really cool. Most of them. There are a couple that I'm not a big fan of, but
another thing I'll say about like base rogue before we get into subclasses is that their sneak attack. So sneak attack is the rogue's bread and butter. You know, it's most classes in D&D are going to get extra attack later if they're up close. You know, spells get more powerful as a wizard. Something the rogue gets that other classes don't, though, is they get a sneak attack, meaning if there's an ally in next to the enemy they're fighting, like kind of keeping a distraction going on, or if they have an advantage at any point, if they have an advantage on an attack, they get a ton of extra damage dice. This can kind of be justified in the way that, the rogue can tell where a weak point is. The rogue is looking to get 1 perfect shot, not 3 kind of okay shots. So they're not a jack of all trades. They are a master of this one thing, and that is precision.
Yeah.
So the rogue gets sneak attack, which can get all the way up to like how many d6 extra? Like a full fireball's worth of extra damage.
I think it's like 9 or 10.
Yeah, 9 or 10 d6 extra damage for 1 shot.
And at higher levels, absolutely.
Yeah, it starts out just being an extra 1d6, and then it quickly starts going up to 2d6, 3d6, and soon enough, like you get to level 10, 11, and you're dealing like tons of extra damage, especially on a critical hit. Feels like you're a divine smite paladin,
The coolest thing about sneak attack, I think, is that it actually forces the player to think tactically.
Yeah.
And that goes with all the rogue subclasses too. Whether it's, using some insightful fighting as the Inquisitor, or you're, giving out the advantage as the bonus action mastermind. No matter what you're doing, you're always thinking about where you are, where your teammates, are you getting advantage, are you getting that sneak attack, are your teammates really benefiting the most from where you're positioned. So I think the whole time you're really thinking about, well, specifically combat-wise, I suppose, but also going into, charisma-based stuff, or if you're casting, going into specific encounters where you need to do something and the party's doing something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rogue definitely, it fits a lot of different molds. So if the rogue needs to be up on the front lines with the fighter, they can go toe-to-toe. Their AC isn't super high, but they can deal out damage perfectly fine. And run away and get back to the back line, so they're not taking the brunt of the damage. But they can also be doing support things like that. They could be attacking from range, or maybe you're in a situation. I'm picturing like a dungeon, right, where there are monsters swarming in. We're surrounded. There's too many of them. We need to escape, but the door is locked that we need to go through. The rogue has to, run across the passage, dodge past the swinging blades, and then turn off the trap mechanism on the other side, and then unlock the door while everyone else is holding off, the hordes of goblins or whatever.
Yeah.
That's sort of where the rogue really shines. I feel like is in doing those things that not necessarily any other class can do, which revolves around the use of their thieves' tools or cunning action or something like that.
And another thing that I think makes Rogue amazing is they are probably one of the best classes to fight against spellcasters, given their abilities like evasion. So
that's true.
A spellcaster goes at you, if you make your save your dexterity saving throw against any kind of thing, not just spells, but like say a fireball is cast at your rogue has evasion, which, you know, not everybody agrees with me. Still think it's the best ability because every spellcaster is just absolutely like dead if your rogue is making these saves and they have a high dexterity saving throw. If you got like a 20 dex rogue, maybe it's not going to be so easy for who's a powerful mage, for Mordenkainen to down them.
Yeah, no, and I'm not going to argue with you there. Evasion is awesome.
Yeah, so evasion is an extremely strong ability. It makes it so they take no damage if they make the save, and they always take half even if they fail. And reliable talent. So those abilities that you have expertise in, you can explain it a little bit better since you were Eknon in the past, but you were always rolling insight, correct?
Yeah, a reliable talent is if you have a 9 or lower and you're proficient in the skill that you're using for the check, it counts as a 10 before you add in your bonus.
So that would be the roll of the D20. If you get anything less than a 9 or less than a 10, it's automatically a 10.
Right, so meaning that if you have expertise in an ability, you're already getting, you know, a +9 or a +10 even to something. And you've got that expertise. You've got some crazy dex. You go to make your acrobatics check. Ooh, you rolled a nat 2. Oh, well, doesn't matter. It can't be lower than 19 anyways. Yeah. I mean, that's insane.
Some of the best moments of playing a rogue are in scenarios where no matter what you roll, you're going to do fine.
Yeah.
There were scenarios where it's like, we cannot get caught here. Oh, I rolled an at 1. Oh, well, that's a 26 stealth.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Exactly. You know, you've got expertise in that thing, you know, and you've already got a +4 proficiency bonus. That's 8. Add in your +5 dex, 13. Oh, well, I can't roll lower than 23 on stealth. That's crazy.
In Eknon's case, it was I think it was a 24 insight. So anybody say anything, oh, are you lying? Oh.
Or like not even just lying, just picking up little things about their character. You know, it's not always just about lying. You know, it's
getting those mannerisms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that there's a tendency for some players to create a character where you're like, oh, this guy is so cool. He's done all these cool things, and you know he's got this big, massive sword. He's gonna kick a bunch of ass, and then you roll in that one, and you know,
and he drops the sword.
Yeah, you're doomed to be goofy. I feel like. With rogues, once you get past that, I think it's 11th level.
I do believe it's 11th.
But even with your expertise, the things that you're good at as a rogue, you will never be bad at.
Yeah.
Like even if you roll like a 2, okay, well, I still succeeded. The rogue kind of carries a lot of those checks.
Exactly.
Throughout the entirety of their lifespan. As
the rogue is meant to be an expert at what they do. They are not meant to be the jack of all trades. Leave that to the bards.
Yep. Which I think is the coolest thing. I'm great in investigation. I will always investigate well. This is my job. Never fail.
Exactly.
You really staple down your role in the party.
Yeah, for instance, I would love to have the rogue that does the acrobatics. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So anytime someone tries to grapple them, they're not gonna your rogue's not gonna be the one that grapples back. They're gonna be the one that is so slippery. They cannot get. They are always just greased up. No one can grab onto them.
You know, speaking of being slippery, I think. Thinking about it now, in retrospect, the rogue probably rivals the barbarian in damage resistance and just evading being hit.
Yeah.
With things like cunning action, things like uncanny dodge, evasion. I think later on it's like 17 or 18 where basically there's just no advantage against them in attacks.
Yeah, I mean, thinking about that, you know, uncanny dodge, another amazing ability, you know, just lets you make or take half damage to an attack. Doesn't really matter what it is, just uncanny dodge. I got it.
Anything from a dagger to dragon's breath. Half that.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. They already evaded the entire dragon's breath anyways. Which, how does that even work?
You just,
this dragon breathes directly. Like, I look from me to you right now, it's about 2 feet. Mm-hmm. You know, I breathe my dragon breath, which is like a 120-foot cone around you. And you go, oh, I passed my evasion check. How does that work?
Frankly, doesn't matter. Didn't hit you. Didn't hit you. Don't care.
Well, no, they swipe their cloak, so there's like a gust
no,
that like cuts through the flames, and then it splits.
No, I
for
always
just
imagine
a
it
bit,
in like a
and
Batman,
then they duck down.
in like a Batman way, like when he just pulls up his cloak and the bullets don't hit him. You know. But no, that was always wild to me. Of sometimes I can't really justify it. Sometimes it's easy. Like, okay, you're fighting on rocky terrain. You find a divot in the ground, quickly kick some dust up out of it, and like are able to like wedge your body in just at the right second to where you are like the fire is scraping your nose, but you take 0 damage.
I think the coolest way to flavor it, while you won't see it as much, is if you're multi-class to something that can use a shield. Where you're just sitting there and you're holding back the entire brunt of the dragon's breath and the fire wreaths around you.
But that's not what evasion is. You have to dodge it.
No,
like,
I know.
that's what,
it's so cool.
I know
Yeah,
you
rogues
can
don't use shields.
You can flavor it in whatever way you want, but yeah, how do you dodge it?
You jump really high.
If you're just out of the range, it's easy to say, like, oh, as it's coming towards you, you're able to, like, twirl just around it or, like, get out of range and jump back into it, getting ready for your next attack type deal. But yeah, I've always wondered that about evasion. Still think it's a great ability, though. Like, even though it's hard to flavor sometimes.
So we're talking about, evading a dragon's breath. We were talking about taking down mages as a rogue, right? Being the mage slayer, if you will. One of the coolest abilities, I think, out of all the subclasses for rogues is one of the higher abilities you get for arcane trickster, where you basically just, I think it's called spell thief. You just negate a spell and steal it from the caster. It's yours.
I love that.
It's so cool.
Isn't that, like, their last ability, though?
It's one of the top. It's like
Second to last
14
one?
minimum.
Okay.
Minimum. It's probably somewhere like 17 or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's lit.
Imagine a fireball coming at your party. Nope, it's mine now.
You run over as, like, the little, cone or like the little pillar of flame is going right to the spot it's supposed to be at. You see the rogue just run over and go interception and grab it out of the air and toss it back.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like absorb elements on steroids.
I like the idea of kind of normalizing it where it's not as extravagant. You just have like a little capsule, like a little can or something. You catch it.
A vial.
You
a vial
close
that
it
you
up.
cork up and let it out. Yeah.
That was actually a magic item that I was. You guys were gonna run into that in Eberron. I forget what I called it exactly, but it was like a little ceramic jar basically with a cork on it, and you could. If a spell is cast on you, you can use your reaction to uncork it and store the spell inside.
That's
And
so
then-
cool.
And then, just like an iron flask with like a monster that you can have inside of it, you just uncork it, and the fireball comes.
You're like
shooting
Villager
out.
or Isabel in
Yeah,
Smash.
yeah, exactly.
I just like the idea of taking other people's stuff, which I guess ties into the thief rogue pretty well.
Yeah.
But just taking other classes' abilities, taking other people's things. It's mine now.
So can you take a counterspell?
Yes.
So
you
they
could.
go to counterspell your person's spell, and you react and say mine, and then you take the counterspell, and then they go to cast a spell and counterspell theirs with their own counterspell.
I think the exact wording is if it's a level that you can cast from any class, but it's got to be like a 4th level slot or lower. So anything 4th or lower you can have.
I just had the coolest idea. So imagine your barbarian is going in to get his final, or like your fighter, your frontliner is going in for their final hit on the big bad who is the stereotypical mage. And this is close to the end of the campaign. It's Hallister, the Hallister Blackcloak, leader of the dungeon. They go at him. He's about to he's looking bad. He's on his last legs, but he probably has like 50 hit points left. And he goes to cast shield. That fucker. He's already got his like 20 AC. Now he's got 25 because of shield. He goes to cast it, and the rogue goes mine. And then the axe enters the middle of his face
nice.
right as he goes to cast it. I just love that. Oh,
Which the idea of giving a rogue shield is ludicrous. They don't
Yeah.
need any other ways to do that. No more abilities that cut their damage. No more abilities that help them not get hit.
it would use up their reaction though to have shield.
That's still pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Makes you think of like Elder Knights. They don't need shield. Fighters don't need that.
I've decided I'm gonna play another rogue starting now.
Next character.
No. I mean, I already got my character for the Christmas one off, so.
Yeah. Oh, I need to finish mine for the Christmas one-off. Well, maybe we'll talk about the Christmas one-off.
Yeah, I would love to say like plan it, do like a themed one-offs episode or something like that.
That would be
That
fun.
would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, eventually we'll play my Halloween one-off that has come and gone this
For like
year.
3 years.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
It'll
Well,
be
it's
a
not our
next
fault
year
you don't
thing.
text us.
Or save it for Easter.
Yeah, I'll just do it. No, it'll be a Thanksgiving-themed haunted house.
Yeah.
How about
I'm
that?
into it.
Well, we can just do it for like Columbus Day or something.
Perfect. The perfect holiday for any one-off. Which I am surprised no one has decided to play a rogue in a heist one-off yet. That's like the perfect class to play.
Well, I'm waiting still. I would love to play a rogue. That's what I was planning on playing, but no one's chosen a spellcaster yet. So I was like, well, I might have to change it around. But I was planning on playing rogue.
I might multi-class. We'll see.
Ooh, I mean, you have 10 levels to use.
Is there a healer rogue?
No.
Oh, well,
I don't think so. Do the...
I'll just take the new Fizzband's Draconic feat, and I'll get Cure Wounds, and that'll be just fine. Shout out to our Fizzbands episode. Go listen to it.
Shameless plug.
No, I'm a little ashamed.
Come to think of it, I'm surprised that there's, as far as I know, I'm thinking about it actively, I don't think there's any rogue at all that has any sort of healing abilities whatsoever.
I think a rogue would make a great medic.
Yeah, it'd be like a run in, get out kind of a vibe, almost like a scout kind of vibe.
or like the Way of Mercy monk. Get in, heal, get out. Get in, take a punch, heal, get out.
It'd just be too powerful. That's why they don't let you do it.
Yeah,
I suppose it would. They're not being crazy. Even like the bonus action, able to use like a med kit kind of a vibe.
Yeah,
like a healing kit.
Yeah, I mean you can play an Arcane Trickster Rogue, take that new subclass, and have a perfectly good healing.
Yeah.
Take the not subclass defeat, and then have perfectly good healing with Cure Wounds.
Could you use your fancy mage hand from the Arcane Trickster class and heal someone with a healing kit?
You can't heal someone with a mage hand.
Because they could do a couple extra things with it.
I'd have to reread
it's probably all
the feature, but they can definitely use I think they can use an item with their mage hand, and they can definitely.
Can they take an action though? Can they cast a spell?
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think cast.
Well,
a
no,
spell.
he's not saying cast a spell. He's saying take the medic feat or a healer feat, and then use a healing kit.
Yes, but you'd have to leave it in
cool.
that area so they could pick it up, or you'd have to make it carry it over there.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
But I think you can use an item with it.
All right. Well, what about a wizard with a familiar? Could they have their familiar use a healing?
Their familiar is not proficient with the healer's kit.
Yeah.
No, but a familiar can cast touch healing spells like Cure Wounds. If
What?
they multi-class.
Right. Okay. Well, I will get it to work at some point. What can bards cast? Find familiar?
Yes.
A lore bard definitely could.
A lore bard definitely could. So.
Lore
Bard, Find Familiar, Arcane Trickster subclass.
I'll waste my additional magical
multi-class
secrets
into Rogue.
on Find Familiar.
Yep.
We might have to do a whole episode on just broken classes.
Oh yeah, like some absolutely insane builds.
Yeah, just like 8
I mean, we just talk about
multi-classes.
Nuke for a little bit. Nuke is a broken build.
Yeah.
He's pretty powerful.
Yeah, well, some of these subclasses in Tasha's especially are just like, oh, why'd you make this so powerful?
Yeah.
Like with the Rune Knight, or the Psionic Warrior is awesome, or Psi Fighter, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Fighters especially really got some great options in Tasha's.
Yeah. So
we'll
speaking
get
of
there
subclasses, what are some interesting subclass features you guys would go with for Rogue? What are some things that you really like? I talked a little about Mastermind. I am not very versed on late game stuff that Rogues get. Or in general for different classes. I'm more versed on what you get, out of the gate, what you get, at level 3, at level 6. So I'm a fan of, especially, the Mastermind's bonus action. Arcane Trickster getting to do certain things like, have the mage hand that's invisible so they can pick things up from a distance, like that. And just being able to cast spells as a rogue sounds a lot of fun to me because you can flavor that really well. A rogue that can do prestidigitation is all powerful, So cool. And honestly, they just get so many options with that.
Well, so imagine a rogue that uses prestidigitation to cover up all their tracks. It's like you've got pass without trace.
Exactly. Honestly,
if you take enough time.
Do they need to cover their tracks though, Zach?
Well, if you roll, if your stealth wasn't a 27,
why wouldn't it be a 27?
Yep. Then you've got that option. I'd say of the subclasses that there are, I've always wanted to play an Arcane Trickster. I'm sure I will at some point because having wizard spells as a rogue just fills that one gap. I think in the class for me,
being able to conjure illusions.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
They don't have a lot of features that you use once a day. Most of their things are, you just can do this infinitely.
Yeah.
But I like having just something special there's something in my brain that clicks when you've got spells that you can cast that are limited.
Can a rogue get sleep with Arcane Trickster?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can. I believe at 3rd level you get 1 spell from anything in the wizard spell list, and then the other 2 spells that you get have to be either enchantment or illusion.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
I think there's a couple levels where you get to choose your own spell. That's not just from
because
that,
getting
specific
that sleep
list.
off, they're unconscious, incapacitated, and then getting a good stab in. Things like that are really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it really comes down to spell selection in that class. Like, what few spells do you use, and how do you use them?
Well, yeah, and so to complain a little bit about the rogue, they do get front-loaded with some really great options, like I was talking about earlier. But after you get your 3rd level feature, as an arcane trickster, it would be your spells and your special mage hand thing. You have to wait a long time before you get anything else.
But
That's because you're so busy getting great things like evasion, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're getting so many other good things along with it. That base rogue, that I'm happy to wait a while to get my next cool ability. Because I'm going to be using those abilities for a while and still making them cool.
There's just, again, something in me where with a lot of other subclasses, you get a feature and then relatively quickly you get another feature that's also unique to the subclass, which makes, it validates my choice of, I customized my character
Makes your character
way.
feel different.
Yeah. As a rogue, you get your one thing at 3rd level, and then you wait until 9th level for your next subclass feature, which just feels like a long time.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, and I don't think it makes the class weaker, but it does make it less flavorful in those mid-levels. Because at 9th level, you might not even, with a campaign like Wild Beyond the Witchlight, you're not getting to 9th level, probably.
I would hazard to guess most rogues don't get to 9th level because, if anything, rogue is the favorite class of new players. Every time you sit down with a group of people who have never played D&D before, at least 2 of them will be arguing over who gets to be the rogue.
Yeah. Because rogues are fun. Mm-hmm. Rogues are very fun, but I agree with you in that once you get your special feature, if it's not, different, if Arcane Trickster is cool because you get magic, which is awesome. But at the same time, a thief to a scout might not feel as different as you want them to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
Like, because, the thief is able to do that, like, their little stealing ability, and the scout gets their little runaway ability, but otherwise, until 9th level, they have the same fighting skills.
Cool feature that the thief gets as well. That's my second choice if I were to play a rogue. Shoot. Well, now I'm forgetting it. There's a feature where they get advantage on all of their stealth checks. I believe it's if you're moving at half speed.
If you move no more than half your movement, I believe it is.
Yeah. So if you're just going half as fast as you can normally go, which might be pretty high depending, then you just get advantage on all your stealth checks, which is ridiculous. On top of the reliable talent, you will be regularly rolling over 30 on your stealth checks. Like, that ancient red dragon won't even be able to see you.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of which, I just had a personal realization. I think I really like Rogue because I've played a lot of rogues.
Yeah.
I played Ficklebox in that one-off in Monster Mash with Sean, which was a goblin rogue. And then I played Galandon, who ended up multi-classing from Bladesinger Rogue. And then I ended up playing Agent 99 as a rogue. I think I just like rogues.
What I think the appeal to rogues is while we're talking about waiting a long time for the abilities they get, when they get them, they're so cool.
Yeah.
You get the big evasion, or that whole mid gap we're talking about, where it's like kind of the middle level range where you're not getting a whole lot, you're waiting a while. When you get to the top tier levels, if you do, some of those abilities are some of the best in the game. Period.
And something that can make your rogue a little bit different for those mid levels is choosing a feat to go along with it. The rogues have a good selection of feat stuff to go off of. Getting the silver tongue stuff that makes you very good at persuasion, deception, and whatnot. Taking some of those extra feats along the way instead of maybe going with the full ability score increase. I'm one who will always try to get a stat of 20 before I start taking a bunch of feats. Mm-hmm. Like, I want that top tier stat, so that way if I find one of those books that can up my stats, like one of those big ledgers, I want to be able to like up my thing to 22.
Mm-hmm.
So I always want my stat, my set stat, like if it's Dex, whether it's Charisma, whether whatever my casting ability is, if I'm a caster, I always want to get a stat to 20. So, but a rogue might be the kind of guy that if you have an 18, maybe you skip out on the 20 for now, and you in those mid-tier levels, you go ahead and take a cool feat that flavors them better or makes their talking ability well, depending on the campaign you're in, of course. You might not be the face of the party as the rogue, though I would say a lot of times they do end up being one of the faces of the party. But in a lot of parties with rogues, there are two faces of the party because not everybody wants the rogue or agrees with the rogue's face of the party.
Right, and I'd say in Storm Kings, in particular, we were nothing but faces.
Yeah, well,
It's definitely true.
well, the thing is, I think Morwen talked the most as the face of the party, and then Eknon was like the other face of the party who, a lot of people knew Eknon. A lot of the story ended up wrapping around him at the beginning. So he kind of brought everybody together as a makeshift leader that everybody trusted because he's a nice guy. And then you have Beryl, who the party is named after. So
That's true. That's true.
Beryl would make our introduction. He'd sort of like warm them up to us. Eknon would get the information out of them, and then Morwen would smooth things over when we mess it up.
Yeah, and Daleth was the order, like the chaotic guy. He would pop in and he would shout down the villains and then take the first shot.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? Daleth, more than anything, would create interesting tension and some crazy cinematic moments, like
He would create
disintegrating people in front of the entire city.
He would create moments that everyone had to fix, though, which was always hilarious to me. Yeah, exactly like what you're saying. He would create moments that I had to fix, too, which I did love the disintegration thing by the end, though, because it made me have a thing for Daleth that he has to do, or else, he's not a part of the party anymore. And knowing Patrick is a player, he wants so badly to be a part of the party that he'll go with what I say, even though he really, his character Daleth really doesn't want to.
Yeah.
It worked out great for me. He got a whole new arc out of the story for that.
Yeah, I mean, and that whole arc was around him, and the fact that, he was basically, ball and chained to Durnan the whole time for that campaign.
Oh, Durnan should take some levels in Rogue. That's what Durnan should do.
I think he does have some levels in Rogue.
Does he?
At least in some of the older editions.
As he's written in a lot of the stat blocks I've seen, he's mostly fighter.
Yeah, mostly fighter, though.
But I think that you're right in that maybe, and there's some iterations of him that he has some rogue or something.
Yeah. Anyway, if I were to play a rogue, I wouldn't. But I might multi-class. I don't have the patience to get those awesome abilities at the end. But just imagine, if I wanted to be the edgiest character possible, Oath of Vengeance Paladin. You get your Divine Smites. You go 3 levels of Rogue, so you get that Assassin thing with your sneak attack, and then you sneak up behind someone with a rapier, and you just annihilate them.
I never thought about doing Paladin Rogue, which is a strong strong multi-class, which in Critical Role, one of the characters he was Paladin Rogue at one point, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So getting that Divine Smite on top of everything, just wearing the leather armor or something, not going the high AC Paladin, and getting those big hits off, it's a great idea. And rogues are, it's easy to have a rogue worship something. They can have something that they're fighting for, or something that they're trying, maybe they could even work for a church or something like that, and they steal to get money for the church,
Oh, that's true.
It's not because they want to, it's because they feel like they have to.
Great multi-class, Trickster Cleric.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I like that.
that'd be good.
They worship Mask.
Yeah.
Have you
That'll
he's
work.
basically like the Loki of Forgotten Realms.
Oh, yeah.
So
I can't get past the whole Paladin Rogue thing right now because you're taking probably the 2 biggest bomb classes in D&D, combining them, and they just do one gigantic hit of endless fury on anything.
yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm a big fan of making characters anime characters, as we've discussed before.
Yeah.
Harengon Rogue would make me very happy because they got their big strong feet. So you can flavor their big assassination hits, 2 daggers, 2 short swords or something. They come down with that moment where the 2 blades cross, the screen goes black, and they appear on the other side and they've taken down them with their assassin ability or something. And they can jump around the room. Like, they're so strong, it would be cool to flavor a final hit as, like, I jump to the wall, fly across the room, slashing through them, hitting my other foot on the wall, and jump back and get the final hit,
Yeah, the Harengon has got me thinking about a jump-themed build.
That's all I've thought about since I read it, dude.
So you go Thief Rogue, because they get to add their dex bonus to their jump distance. You take one of those classes, Druid or Ranger or whatever, that lets you cast the jump spell. And then everything else can be whatever you want. But you're a Harengon.
And you start from the beginning as the Thief Rogue, so you literally do really cool jump, like stealing. You go running past someone as a Harengon, full speed, jump into a wall and across, steal their coin purse without them seeing, as they whoa, as you go by, steal the coin purse and disappear down the alleyway. I mean, the Urchin, Harengon, Thief Rogue. Come on. It's so cool.
But then you have to take some levels of Monk to get slow fall, because you can jump so high.
It's true.
Nah.
Would there be any leniency for that, because you can jump so high to prevent that damage?
Well, you would take damage if you jump 10 feet up in the air and you don't land on something that's at that height. So
I feel like there could be some workarounds to it. If you did have some way to make acrobatics checks or something with it so that you could, toe touch and roll into it. As someone who works at a ninja gym, toe touching from a 10-foot drop, not that hard.
Yeah.
So
it's up to your DM to really decide. Or you could just have them take a ring of feather falling.
Yes, take a ring of feather falling, or
true.
always have a wizard nearby.
You're good to go.
I would love to. So I recently watched Doctor Strange again, and the Mordo has those shoes where he can take jumps in the air. I forget what they're called in the movie, but
The jump in the air shoes.
Yeah, but they're like boots,
Yeah,
and he can jump, and then he can step on use his boots like there's a surface there and jump again. I would love to give that to a Harengon, where they can actually take extra jumps in the air, like double or triple jumps, or not only that. But since they're so strong with their feet, they can flavor it to where they jump once in the air with their normal jump and then change direction and push off with their feet in midair.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? That's so cool.
Yeah. What about an immovable rod? Where they just
Oh,
jump 60
you've
feet
changed
in the air.
everything! You've changed everything!
The Harengon build. This is it.
And then they do some Prince of Persia style
Yes, acrobatics.
Yeah,
Just make an acrobatics check. They fall forward forever. And not only that, if they are super acrobatic, they would have to make some endurance, constitution check to hold on for that long, because you would get a lot of lactic acid going through them veins. But they you could even lâcher upwards, so they can fling their body, click the button on the immovable rod, fling themselves 10 feet up, and click it again. Now they're 10 feet higher with this immovable rod.
My brain just exploded.
Yeah.
There was a really cool moment with that, actually. It was I forget what Eric we called him, but one of the players in Lanky Eric's campaign I was in, we got an immovable rod, and he did that exact thing where he would just core strength, immovable rod, click it, unclick it, and then go upwards, and he was basically flying after this dragon.
Oh my god!
By doing this.
So that's a very hard skill to pull off.
Oh, absolutely. He rolled very well. I think he got an at 20.
Oh my god!
Yeah, no.
Because Lanky Eric was not about to let
doing
him
a
do that.
continuous lâcher like that, where you fling yourself up, click the button, and then literally you have to build momentum going forward to click again and go higher. That's a very hard skill. I've done it before. Very difficult.
Oh, with your immovable rod?
No. We have lâcher bars in Ninja Nation.
Gotcha.
It's basically the same thing. Still requires.
So, but no, we have a lâcher bar that's 5 feet higher than the other ones and 5 feet out. So you have to grab onto one bar, fling yourself up to this one, grab onto it, and then fling yourself down to another one 7 feet away.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Talk about doing all this jumping. I believe there's a barbarian that gets that extra jump distance. I want to play the Harengon barbarian, so you just hulk across the battlefield, just leap and smack down with your battle axe. Oh, that'd be so cool.
And if you multi-class rogue, you could cunning action. So your
extra
movement
sneak attack damage.
Yeah. You're just
double dash.
Going so fast.
What a good Mario Kart game.
Anyway, any final thoughts about rogues?
I
fellas?
love rogues.
Yep, play rogues. They're great. There's a subclass for anything you want to do. Do it.
I'm still
not
not
anything.
sold.
They are still the experts of their field. There isn't a subclass for a healer rogue. There are, the Soul Knife, the more psionic style rogues. They're cool, but other classes are better. And other subclasses are better than those ones. The ones that were added in Tasha's.
Yeah.
I do think they're very cool flavor wise.
Very flavorful.
But at the same time, I would rather play some of the older rogues. I think the older ones are much more fun.
Yeah. If anything, I'll say you definitely feel the gap that a rogue leaves behind if they're not on the party. Like, if you think of a standard D&D adventuring group, you've got a fighter, a wizard, a healer of some kind, and then a thief or the rogue. And when that
I would actually
rogue,
say paladin over fighter.
yeah, definitely, but someone in armor to tank up front. If you don't have that rogue there to, sneak around and investigate and open the locked doors, you're gonna be in our situation in Avernus, where we walk up into every demon infested hallway,
and the demon initiates combat every time.
Yeah.
I mean, Varys tries to be stealthy sometimes. Varys is a monk. The monk can fill that stealth role, but they are not. They don't typically fill the investigation or insight role. The persuasion. They don't usually fill the other roles that a rogue would fill.
A little more niche.
Yeah. Well, I think that does it for this episode, guys. I think that was a killer one. So I'm just gonna let the character take us out to dinner.
Hello. What would you like to order?
Hello, it's Agnon Greylock here. Thank you for listening to Table Talk Friday. For more adventures, check us out at your favorite podcast service. If you have any questions about our travels, please write us a magic letter at tabletalkfriday@gmail.com. Otherwise, stop by next Friday for our next episode. Enjoy.